The dropships kept coming. One after another they slammed into the scarred ground of Vara Prime. Dust clouds rose high. Engines screamed as they settled. Doors opened fast. Humans poured out like water from a broken dam. They did not form neat ranks. They did not wait for orders shouted across the field. Each squad knew its job. They moved. Major Lisa Carter stepped out of the third ship to land. She was tall for a human woman. Her dark hair was pulled tight under her helmet. Her armor had dents from old fights. She carried a heavy rifle across her chest. She looked left and right once, then she pointed forward. First and second squads, take the left flank. Secure the trench line. Third squad with me. We push to the coalition bunker. Move. Her voice cut through the noise. No fear, no doubt. The Marines around her nodded and ran. Boots pounded mud. They jumped over broken walls. Krellid acid spit hissed past them. One Marine took a glancing hit to the leg. He grunted. Kept running. Another Marine pulled him up without stopping. Kale watched from high orbit. His ship stayed dark and still. His screens showed close details. He zoomed in on Lisa's face through her visor. Her eyes were steady. She spoke into her comm while she ran. Captain Hayes, we are on the ground, linking with coalition forces now. Enemy density is high. We will clear a path. John Hayes answered from the Endurance. His voice stayed calm. Good copy, Major. We have air cover incoming. Use it. Do not let them regroup. Kale switched views. Above the planet, human fighters launched from the larger ships. They were small and fast. Sharp wings, bright engines. They dove into the sky like arrows. A squadron led by Lieutenant Karen Lee streaked low. Her voice came over open channels. Red flight. Form up. Target-rich environment. Pick your shots. Protect the ground pounders. The fighters opened fire. Missiles left trails of white smoke. They hit Krellid drone swarms. Explosions bloomed like flowers of fire. Chitin shells cracked open. Acid rained down, but missed most targets. The human ships twisted and turned. They flew close to the ground. Too close. Coalition pilots would never risk that. Humans did. On the surface, Sergeant Robert Klein led his squad toward a burning bunker. The coalition had lost it hours earlier. Krellid warriors crawled inside. They built nests fast. Robert stopped at the edge of a crater. He looked at his team. 5 humans, all young, all armed heavy. Frag and flash, he said. 2 in, 3 cover, go loud. They threw grenades. Flashes lit the dark mouth of the bunker. Then loud bangs. Smoke rolled out. Robert charged first. He fired short bursts. A Krellid lunged. Claws scraped his armor. He drove his rifle butt into its face. The creature fell. Another came. He shot it point blank. The squad followed. They fought room by room, hand to hand when the corridors got tight. One Marine lost his rifle. He pulled a combat knife. He used it fast and hard. Kale recorded the sounds. Grunts, shouts, metal on chitin, screams that ended quick. He saw no retreat. Even when a wall collapsed and buried 2 Marines, the others kept pushing. They dug out their friends later. One was alive. Broken leg. He waved them off. Finish the job first. Above, Commander Alara watched from the dawn's edge. Her bridge crews stared at the feeds. A young Zorath officer spoke softly. They fight like machines, but they bleed. They die. Why do they not pull back? Alara clicked her beak. Because they choose not to. Vor stood next to her. He studied the map. Human positions glowed brighter. They connected broken coalition lines. They pushed into places marked as lost. The eastern ridge, almost gone an hour ago, now held firm. Krellid forces pulled back for the first time in weeks. Kale noticed the change in the swarm too. The Krellid queens sent signals. Scouts retreated. Larger warriors formed defensive rings. They waited. They watched. The black tide slowed. It did not stop, but it slowed. Lisa Carter reached the Coalition bunker. Coalition soldiers waited inside, a mix of Vexari, Trellin, and others. They looked tired, dirty. Their eyes were wide when they saw the humans arrive. Lisa stepped through the broken door. She lowered her rifle. "Major Lisa Carter, Terran Marines, we are here to help." A Vexari sergeant stepped forward. His feathers were matted with blood. You came through the fire. We thought the line was gone." Lisa gave a small smile. "Not anymore. We brought friends." Outside, more humans arrived. They carried heavy weapons, mortars, rocket launchers. They set up fast. They fired into the Krellid lines. Explosions walked across the field. Dirt and bodies flew. The Coalition soldiers watched. Others just stared. Kale zoomed on one human Marine, a private named Daniel Ruiz. Young, maybe 20 cycles. His left arm hung limp. Acid burn. He still fired his rifle one-handed. He laughed when a shot hit home. "Got another one." Kale did not understand the laugh. Lirath did not laugh in battle. They did not find joy in death. Yet these humans did. The fighting went on through the day. Humans did not rest. They rotated squads. Some ate quick meals from packets. Others drank water and kept watch. When night came, they used lights on their helmets. Red beams cut through dark. They pushed forward again. Captain John Hayes spoke to the Coalition once more. "We have secured 3 key points. We can hold them. Request permission to expand the perimeter." Ilara answered fast. "Granted, we will support from orbit." Hayes paused. "We do not need much support. Just keep the skies clear if you can." Kale listened to the words. The Coalition asked. The humans answered. But the humans led now. Not with words, with action. A large Krellid wave came at dusk. Thousands of warriors. Drones above them. Acid clouds thick. The Coalition line shook. Soldiers braced. Lisa Carter stood on a small rise. She watched it come. She spoke into her calm. "All units, this is Carter. Hold position. Let them get close. Then hit them hard." Humans waited. They crouched low. Rifles ready. When the first Krellid reached 50 meters, Lisa shouted one word. "Fire." The line erupted. Bullets, rockets, grenades. The front of the swarm vanished in flashes and smoke. Humans advanced. They stepped over bodies. They fired while moving. One squad flanked left, another right. They cut the wave in pieces. Kale saw a strange thing. A wounded Krellid warrior tried to crawl away. A human Marine walked up. He aimed down. One shot. Clean. The creature stopped moving. The Marine did not look angry. He did not look sad. He just moved on. The wave broke. The Krellid pulled back again. Farther this time. On the dawn's edge, Vor turns to Ilara. They do not fight to hold ground. They fight to take it. All of it. Ilara looked at the screen. Human icons spread wider. Yes, and they do it without hesitation. Kale saved more footage. He labeled it. Day 1, evening, human integration. He added a note. Observed behavior. No conservation of force. Full commitment. Adaptation in real time. Casualties accepted to maintain momentum. He did not write the next thought. Not yet. But it grew in his mind. These humans did not come as allies only. They came as something older. Something the stars had forgotten. A force that did not know how to lose. Night deepened on Vara Prime. Fires burned low. Humans dug in. They talked in low voices. They cleaned weapons. They patched armor. Somewhere a Marine sang a quiet song. Soft. Rough. Human. Kale listened. He did not understand the words, but he felt the sound. It carried strength. It carried no fear. The stars above watched in silence. They had seen many species rise, many fall. They had never seen this. Days passed on Vara Prime. The sky stayed gray from smoke. The ground shook from distant explosions. The coalition had stopped losing ground. Now they gained it, slowly at first, then faster. The humans drove the change. They did not ask permission for every move. They saw weak spots and hit them hard. Colonel Daniel Brooks arrived on the 4th day. He came down in a heavy command dropship. His armor was plain gray. No fancy marks, only a small flag patch on the shoulder. He met Major Lisa Carter at the forward command post. It was a half-destroyed bunker, with sandbags and glowing screens. Lisa saluted quick. Daniel returned it. "Colonel," she said, "we hold the ridge. Prelate hive clusters are 3 kilometers east. They regroup there." Daniel looked at the map. Red clusters pulsed like hearts. "Queens inside?" "2 confirmed, maybe 3. They protect them with everything." He nodded once. "We take them out. No half measures. I want flanking teams. Small groups. Fast. Hit the tunnels from the sides. Collapse what we can." Lisa smiled thin. "Already planning it, sir." Above in orbit, Captain John Hayes watched from the bridge of the Endurance. He stood with arms crossed. Officers from the coalition stood nearby. They watched the same feeds. A Zorath named Vor spoke. "Your colonel plans to attack the hives directly. That is suicide. The tunnels are narrow, full of warriors, acid traps." Hayes did not turn. "We have done it before. Different bugs, same idea. Get in close, break the head, the body dies." Vor made a low sound. "You lose many that way." Hayes looked at him then. "We lose fewer if we wait. Waiting means the swarm rebuilds. Then we lose more." The Zorath said nothing after that. Kale watched everything from the silent ship. He followed the small human teams on his screens. One team moved under Sergeant Robert Klein again. 8 Marines, light gear, no heavy armor this time. They carried packs full of seismic charges, small black boxes that could shake stone apart. They crawled through a dry riverbed. Krellid patrols passed close. The humans froze flat, waited, moved again when clear. They reached the first tunnel mouth at dusk. 2 Krellid guards stood outside. Robert signaled. 2 Marines with silenced rifles took the shots. The guards dropped without sound. The team slipped inside. Darkness swallowed them. Helmet lights came on low, red beams. They moved quiet. The tunnel smelled of wet earth and rot. Walls dripped acid. One Marine brushed the wall. His gloves sizzled. He cursed soft, kept going. Deeper in, they heard the hum. The queens, large, guarded. The team planted charges on support beams. They set timers, short ones. Then they ran back the way they came. Outside they took cover. The ground shook. A low boom rolled out. Dust shot from the tunnel mouth. Cracks spread across the surface. Part of the hills sank. Screams came from below. Not human screams. Kale saw the Krellid reaction. Warriors poured from other tunnels. Angry, fast, but confused. Their queens called. The calls grew weak. One hive cluster went silent. Lisa Carter led another team to the second hive. She took Lieutenant Laura Evans with her. Laura was small, quick, good with explosives. They moved at night, used smoke to hide. Krellid drones flew overhead. The humans stayed low, waited, struck when the drones passed. They reached the main entrance. Guards everywhere. Lisa gave the order. Hit them. Grenades flew. Explosions lit the night. Humans charged through smoke. They fought close. Knives, rifle butts, fists when needed. Laura slipped past the fight. She ran down a side tunnel. Alone. She planted her charges deep. Near the queen chamber. She set the timer. 30 seconds. She ran back. A Krellid warrior blocked her path. Tall, claws raised. Laura did not stop. She fired her sidearm. Hit the eyes. The creature fell. She jumped over it, reached the surface. The blast came behind her. The tunnel collapsed. The queen inside never came out. The swarm felt it. Panic spread. Warriors turned. Some fled. Others attacked wild. No order. No plan. Colonel Daniel Brooks watched from the command post. He spoke into his comm. All teams report. Voices answered. Some tired. Some hurt. All alive. First hive down. Second hive collapsing. Third under heavy fire. We hold. Daniel looked at Lisa. Push now, while they break. She nodded. Yes, sir. The coalition forces moved with them. For the first time in months, they advanced. Vexari snipers took high ground. Trellin heavies brought big guns. But the humans stayed in front. Always. Karen Lee flew cover above. Her fighter wing danced through the sky. Krellid drones tried to stop them. Karen twisted her ship, locked on, fired. A drone burst into pieces. She whooped over the comm. Red flight, keep them off the ground teams. Make holes. Her pilots followed. They flew low. Dangerous low. Wings almost touched dirt. They strafed Krellid lines. Lasers cut wide paths. Humans ran through those paths. They pushed deeper. Kale zoomed on one moment. A human marine squad faced a wall of warriors. 10 humans against 50. The Krellid charged. The humans did not run. They knelt, fired steady. When ammo ran low, they switched to blades. One marine lost an arm. He tied it off quick, kept fighting with the other. His friends covered him. They held until more humans arrived. Then they pushed again. On the dawn's edge, Commander Alara watched the map. Blue icons spread, red shrank. She turned to Vor. They turned the tide, in days. Vor stared. They do not count costs. They pay them and keep moving. Alara clicked her beak, soft. That is why the swarm fears them now. Kale recorded the numbers. Human casualties rose. Over 200 dead, many more wounded. Yet they did not stop. Medics worked fast, patched wounds, sent men back if they could stand. Some refused to leave. They said the same thing. Not done yet. One private lost both legs below the knee. He sat against a rock. He handed his rifle to a friend. Take it. Kill more for me. The friend took it, nodded, went back to the fight. Kale felt something new. Not just curiosity, a cold understanding. Humans accepted pain. They accepted death, not because they wanted to die, because they wanted to win more. The final push came at dawn. The last hive cluster stood. Warriors formed a ring around it. Queens inside screamed for help. No help came. Colonel Daniel Brooks gave the order. All units, full assault. No prisoners, no retreat. Humans moved as one. From every side. They used everything. Rockets, flamethrowers, grenades. They burned paths through the swarm. They climbed over bodies. They reached the center. Lieutenant Laura Evans led the final strike team. She carried the last big charge, a shaped nuclear pack. Small but strong. She ran through fire. Acid burned her armor. She ignored it. She reached the queen chamber. The queen rose, huge, angry, claws slashed. Laura rolled under, planted the charge, set it, ran. The blast lit the morning sky, white light, then fire. The hive sank into a crater. Dust rose high. When it cleared, nothing moved inside. The swarm broke completely. Warriors scattered. Some tried to burrow. Humans hunted them. No mercy. Kale watched the end. He saw Captain John Hayes on the bridge. Hayes spoke quiet. Secure the field. Help the wounded. Prepare for next phase. Next phase. Kale noted the words. The battle for Vara Prime was won. To the stars where the Krellid came from. The coalition cheered on their ships. They clapped. They cried relief. The humans did not cheer loud. They cleaned weapons. They counted dead. They prepared. Kale saved the last footage of the day. He wrote one line in his log. The turning tide. Humans do not fight wars. They end them. He paused, then added more. And they do not stop when the enemy begs. The stars above Vara Prime stayed quiet. They had seen victory before. This felt different, sharper, colder. The victory on Vara Prime did not end the war. It only opened the door wider. The Krellid Sworn still held strong systems deeper in their territory. Hive worlds, breeding grounds, places where queens grew new armies faster than anyone could count. The Coalition wanted time to rebuild, to heal wounds, to plan careful steps forward. The humans did not wait. Colonel Daniel Brooks stood in the forward command tent on Vara Prime. Rain fell outside. It mixed with ash and made black mud. Maps glowed on tables. Coalition officers from different species gathered around. They looked at the colonel. He pointed to a star system 3 jumps away. That is their main hive cluster, Daniel said. 5 queens, billions of warriors. If we let them recover, they come back stronger. We hit them now. Commander Alara clicked her beak. Our ships need repairs. Crews need rest. We lost many on the surface. Daniel looked at her straight. We lost people too. We still stand. Delay means more losses later. Vor, the Zorath tactician, crossed his arms. A direct assault on a hive world is madness. Their orbital defenses are thick. Layers of drones, acid clouds that eat hulls. We would bleed out before we reached the surface. Major Lisa Carter stepped forward. She had fresh bandages on one arm. Her eyes stayed hard. We do not need to take the orbitals clean, she said. We board them, tear them apart from inside. Our Marines are built for close work. The Coalition officers stared. A Trellan general spoke low. Boarding capital ships, in zero gravity, against swarms? Lisa nodded once. We have done worse. Captain John Hayes listened from the Endurance bridge through a secure link. His face filled one screen. He spoke calm. We launch in 12 hours. Endurance leads the spearhead. Our other cruisers follow. Coalition ships provide cover fire. We do the rest. Ilara looked around the tent. They knew the truth. Without humans, Vara Prime would have fallen. With humans, maybe the war could end. Kale watched from orbit. His ship followed the human fleet now. He stayed cloaked, invisible. His screens showed the ships moving into formation. Not perfect lines like Zorath vessels. Not graceful curves like Vexari carriers. Rough groups. Practical. Ready. The jump came fast. Space folded. Stars stretched. Then snapped back. The fleet dropped into the target system. Alarms sounded on every ship. Krellid defenses woke. Hundreds of drone swarms rose. Acid launchers fired streams of green mist. The Coalition cruisers hung back. They fired long-range shots. Humans pushed forward. Karen Lee led the fighter screen. Her voice crackled over comms. Red flight, engage at will. Clear lanes for the boarding teams. Fighters dove in. They twisted through drone clouds. Lasers flashed. Missiles bloomed. Karen locked on a heavy drone carrier. She fired. The carrier split open. Secondary explosions followed. On the Endurance, boarding pods launched. Small, fast, armored like arrows. They aimed for the biggest Krellid capital ships. One pod carried Lieutenant Laura Evans. Her team sat strapped in tight. Lights dim red. No talk, just breathing. The pod hit the enemy hull. Clamps locked. Cutting torches burned through metal. The door blew inward. Humans poured out into dark corridors. Gravity was gone. They floated. Magnetic boots clicked on. Krellid warriors waited. Claws scraped walls. Acid spit flew. Laura fired first. Her rifle bucked in 0G. Rounds tore through chitin. Her team followed. They moved room to room. They sealed hatches behind them. trapped sections, blew them open to space when full of enemies. One Marine took a claw to the chest, armor cracked, blood floated in red beads. He grabbed the creature, held it tight. Another Marine shot it point blank. The wounded man waved them on. "I hold here." They kept going. Kale zoomed close. He saw faces through visors, sweat, gritted teeth, no panic. One human laughed short when a krellid head burst under his boot. Another sang soft under his breath. Old human song, words about home, about fight. On the bridge of Dawn's Edge, Ilara watched the feeds. Human icons moved inside enemy ships. Deep, too deep. Vor shook his head. They board like it is nothing. They die like it is nothing. Ilara answered quiet. Not nothing, everything. The krellid queens felt the attacks. They sent more warriors. Ships turned to ram human vessels. Endurance took hits. Hull breached in 3 places. Repair teams sealed them fast. John Hayes stayed calm. Damage control. Keep engines hot. We push closer. A Zoroth admiral on another ship sent a message. Urgent. Captain Hayes, pull back. Consolidate. This is reckless. Hayes answered plain. Reckless keeps them from breeding more. Pull back means they win time. We do not give time. The admiral said no more. Laura Evans reached the core of her target ship. A massive chamber. The queen there was old, huge, body swollen, guards everywhere. Laura's team fought to her. They lost 3 on the way. Laura planted charges on the queen's egg sacs. She set the timer. Short. The queen lunged. Claws caught Laura's leg, tore armor. Blood flowed. Laura did not scream. She fired into the queen's mouth. The creature reared back. Laura rolled free. Her team dragged her out. The blast came. The ship shook. Sections split. Atmosphere vented. The queen died in fire. More ships fell the same way. Humans boarded. Killed queens. Blew reactors. Krellid vessels drifted dead. The swarm broadcast surrender. A weak signal. Terms offered. Spare the remaining hives. Trade resources. End the war. John Hayes received it on the bridge. He listened. Then spoke back on open channel. This is Captain Hayes. Your terms are rejected. Total disarmament. All hives destroyed. No negotiation. Silence followed. Then rage. The remaining krellid ships charged. Desperate. Humans met them head-on. One cruiser, the Defiant, took heavy fire. Engines died. It still moved. On purpose. It rammed a krellid battleship. Both exploded in bright light. Debris rained. Boarding teams on the last Hive World ship fought to the end. They reached the primary queen. She begged in clicks and screams. Humans did not listen. Charges set. Timer running. They pulled back. The ship cracked open like an egg. Kale watched the final moments. Human pods left burning hulks. Some pods carried wounded. Some carried only silence. On Vara Prime, Coalition forces cheered when the news came. The krellid broken. The war almost over. But the cheers felt thin. They had seen the cost. And the way humans paid it. Colonel Daniel Brooks stood on the surface. He looked at the sky. Stars bright now. No more smoke. Major Lisa Carter walked up, bandaged, tired. Sir, fleet reports. Hive worlds neutralized. Survivors scattered. No organized resistance left. Daniel nodded slow. Good. Tell the coalition we glassed the breeding sites. No chances. Lisa paused. They may ask for mercy. Daniel looked at her. Mercy lets them come back. We end it. She nodded, walked away to send the order. Kale floated above it all, his archives filled with images, boarding fights, explosions, faces that did not break. He wrote in his log, The Reckoning. Humans do not wage limited war. They wage absolute war. No lines they will not cross. No cost they will not pay. When the enemy offers peace, they demand erasure. He added one more line. The stars dread them because humans fight as if the universe itself is the enemy. And they mean to win. The fleet prepared to leave. No parades, no speeches. Ships turned. Engines glowed. They headed home. Captain John Hayes sent one last message to the coalition. We came because you called. We've finished it. Stay safe. Simple words, heavy meaning. Cale watched them go. Small lights against black. He knew the galaxy had changed. Not because the Krell had lost. Because humans had won. And winning like that left marks on everyone who saw it. The last Krellid hive world burned slow. From orbit, it looked like a cracked egg. Red cracks glowed where human charges had torn deep. Atmosphere leaked out in thin white streams. No more swarms rose to fight. No queens screamed for help. Only silence and fire. The human fleet pulled back. Ships turned away one by one. Engines flared soft blue. They left the system without fanfare. No victory parade. No flags raised. Just quiet departure. On the bridge of the Endurance, Captain John Hayes stood with hands behind his back. He watched the burning world on the main screen. His face showed lines deeper than before. Eyes tired, but clear. An officer approached. Sir, Coalition requests a final meeting. They want to discuss terms, reconstruction, borders. Hayes shook his head once. Tell them we have no terms to discuss. The Krellid are finished. We go home. The officer nodded and left. Hayes stayed. He spoke low to himself. We answered the call. That is all. Cale followed in his small ship. He kept distance, cloaked, silent. His archives now held thousands of hours of footage. Battles, deaths, moments of raw human will. He reviewed them as the fleet jumped away. Each jump took them farther from the war zone, closer to human space. Back on Vara Prime, Coalition forces began cleanup. Soldiers walked the fields. They collected bodies, their own and enemy. Medics treated the last wounded. Engineers started repairs on bunkers and roads. The mood was relief, mixed with something heavier. Commander Alara stood on a hill that once held the last defensive line. Wind moved her gray feathers. She looked at the sky where human ships had vanished. Vor joined her. They left without asking for anything, he said. No land, no tribute, no bases. Alara clicked her beak slow. They never wanted those things. They wanted the threat gone. A young Vexari soldier walked up. Commander, we found recordings. Human medics left them. Messages for families. Some did not make it. Ilara took the pad. She played one file. A human voice. Rough. Young. Mom, Dad, if you hear this, I did not come back. Tell my sister I love her. Tell her to keep fighting for what matters. We stopped them here. That has to count. The message ended. Ilara closed her eyes for a moment, then handed the pad back. Send them home, she said. All of them. Word spread through the Coalition worlds. Humans had come. Humans had fought. Humans had won. Stories grew. Some true. Some larger than truth. In bars on distant stations, aliens whispered about the mammals who charged when others ran, who burned worlds to stop worse things from happening, who left without claiming spoils. Diplomats met in quiet rooms. They spoke careful words. The humans are dangerous, one Zorath said. Not dangerous, a Trellin answered. That is worse. An elder Vexari leaned forward. They fight without limits. Other species stop when victory is near. Humans stop when nothing is left to kill. The room grew quiet. No one disagreed. Cale returned to the Leroth Archive moon, a cold gray rock, far from trade lanes. His ship docked gentle. He walked through empty halls. Lights came on as he passed. He reached the central chamber. A large crystal pillar stood in the middle. It stored every record his people kept. He connected his data core. Files transferred. Hours of video, audio, sensor logs. He added his final notes. Entry: Krellid War. Human intervention. Outcome: total victory for Coalition. Cost: high. Human cost: accepted without complaint. He paused, then wrote more. Observation: humans do not wage war as a tool of policy. They wage it as survival. When survival demands total end, they deliver it. No mercy, when mercy invites return attack. He added the last line. The stars dread humans not because they are strong in ships or weapons. They dread them because humans carry inside them a fire that burns until the enemy is ash, and sometimes longer. Kale stepped back. The crystal glowed soft as it filed the entry. He turned off the lights, walked to his resting pod. He did not sleep yet. He thought. Months passed in the galaxy. Trade routes opened again. Ships moved without fear of swarm attacks. Planets rebuilt. Life returned to normal. Almost. But in quiet moments, when leaders met, the name human came up. Always careful. Always low. One day a small human delegation arrived at a neutral station. Not military. Civilians. Scientists. Traders. They offered help. Seeds for damaged farms. Medical tech. Knowledge of fast rebuilding. The coalition accepted. Polite. Grateful. But eyes watched close. Captain John Hayes did not come. He stayed in human space. Reports said he retired to a small farm on a green world. He grew food. He rarely spoke of the war. Major Lisa Carter stayed in service. She trained new Marines. She taught them the same lessons. Push forward. Adapt. Never stop. Colonel Daniel Brooks wrote reports. Cold. Clear. He warned his leaders. Do not call on us lightly again. When we come, we finish things. That finish stays finished. Lieutenant Laura Evans recovered from her wounds. She lost the leg. She got a new one. Metal and strong. She flew fighters again. Karen Lee flew beside her. They laughed in cockpits. They remembered friends lost. Kale sometimes sent probes to human borders. Not to spy. To watch. He saw their worlds. Busy. Loud. Full of motion. Ships came and went. People built. People argued. People lived. He saw no armies massing. No fleets waiting to conquer. Just a species that knew how to fight when needed. And knew how to stop when not. Yet the dread remained. In the deep archives, scholars read Kale's report. They passed it in secret. They discussed it in closed rooms. One scholar summed it up. When the call went out, many answered slow. Humans answered fast. When others would have negotiated peace, humans demanded end. When surrender came, they refused anything less than erasure. Another added soft. They saved us, and we fear them for it. Kale finished his work. He sealed the archive. He sent one final transmission to the crystal pillar. Update. Humans depart. No demands, no occupation. War over. He added the closing thought. The lesson is simple. Do not call humans to your battlefield unless you are ready for what comes after victory. Because victory with them arrives complete, brutal, final. And the silence that follows is not always comfortable. Kale powered down his ship. He looked out at the stars. They shone cold and distant. He spoke to the empty dark. You dread them, and you should. Then he closed his eyes. The stars kept shining. They had seen empires rise, fall. They had seen species fade. Now they watched a new name echo in the quiet spaces between worlds. Human. Not conqueror, not savior. Something else. Something that came when called. Something that left when done. Something that made the galaxy remember why some wars should never reach the point of needing them. and why, once invited, the memory never fully fades. The war had already lasted 7 standard cycles. Across the spiral arm, planets burned. The Krellid swarm moved like a black tide. They came in endless waves of chitin and acid. They did not negotiate. They did not tire. They consumed. Whole systems vanished under their hunger. The coalition fleet, once proud and large, now limped from battle to battle. Ships that used to shine silver were patched with scrap and painted with soot. Crews were tired. Hope was thin. High above the planet Vara Prime, a small observation ship drifted in silence. Its hull was dark and smooth, shaped like a teardrop. No weapons, no flags. Inside sat Kale, the last watcher of the Lirath people. His species had long ago chosen to stay out of wars. They watched. They recorded. They told no one what they saw unless the archives demanded it. Kale's skin was pale blue. His eyes were large and black. He did not blink often. He sat in a chair made of soft gel that shaped itself to his body. Screens floated around him in a gentle curve. They showed every angle of the battle below. On the surface of Vara Prime, the coalition made its last stand. Commander Ilara of the Vexari stood on the bridge of the heavy cruiser Dawn's Edge. She was tall. Her feathers were dull gray from stress. Her beak clicked when she spoke. Around her, officers from 6 different species worked at glowing panels. A Zorath tactician named Vor moved his 6-fingered hands fast over a map of the battlefield. His voice was calm but tight. "We lose the eastern ridge in the next hour," Vor said. "After that, the hive breach reaches the main shelter. Then, it is over." Ilara looked at the screen. Red dots showed Krellid swarms pushing forward. Blue dots showed coalition lines breaking. Too many blue dots were turning red. "We asked for help," she said quietly. "Months ago. A wideband distress call. We sent it to every known frequency, even to the far human sectors." Vor made a low sound in his throat, almost a laugh. "Humans, the young race from the edge, they build slow ships, they argue among themselves, they will not come." Ilara did not answer. She kept watching the screen. Kale zoomed one of his cameras closer. He saw soldiers in the trenches. A group of Trellin fighters, short and wide with thick armor, fired plasma rifles until the barrels glowed white. Behind them, a line of Vexari snipers aimed long rifles with steady hands. They killed many Krellid. But more came. Always more. A wave of drones swept low. Acid rain fell. The Trellin line broke. Screams came through the audio feed. Kale noted the sound levels. He marked the time. He felt nothing. He was not allowed to feel. Then, something changed. A new signal appeared on the outer edge of the system. It was small at first, just a faint pulse. Kale tilted his head. He opened more channels. The signal grew stronger. It carried old encryption. Coalition codes from decades past. But the signature was different. Rougher. Human. Kale spoke to his ship. "Confirm origin." The ship answered in a soft voice. "Human. Multiple vessels. Warp signatures matched Terran patterns. Arrival estimated in 20 minutes. Kale's large eyes narrowed. He had read the files. Humans were new to the stars, less than 300 cycles since they left their single world. They had no unified empire. They fought each other often. Their technology was strong in some ways, weak in others. The coalition had ignored them. Most elders called them loud children with dangerous toys. Yet here they were. On the Dawn's Edge bridge, alarms sounded. Not attack alarms, incoming friendlies. Ilara turned fast. "Show me." A tactical officer pulled up the feed. 8 ships came out of warp in a loose formation. They were not sleek like Zorath cruisers. They were not smooth like Vexari carriers. They looked hard used. Thick armor plates. Extra engines bolted on in strange places. Gun barrels stuck out at odd angles. One ship had a large scar across its side, patched with what looked like civilian hull plating. The lead ship broadcast its name in plain text, Endurance. A voice came over the open channel. Male, calm, no fear. This is Captain John Hayes of the Terran cruiser Endurance. We received your distress call. We are here to help, requesting approach vector and target priority. Silence filled the bridge. Then Vor spoke. They actually came. Ilara stepped forward. Captain Hayes, this is Commander Ilara of the Coalition. We welcome you. The Eastern Front is collapsing. We need ground support there most. Understood, Hayes answered. We are launching drops now. Hang on. Kale watched the human ships move. They did not wait for full scans. They did not form perfect lines. They simply accelerated toward the planet. Drop ships fell away from the larger vessels, like seeds from a pod. Dozens of them, each one blunt and heavy. They burned straight through the atmosphere. Krellid interceptors tried to stop them. The dropships ignored most of the fire. A few took hits. One exploded in a bright flash. The rest kept coming. On the ground, Coalition troops saw the streaks in the sky. A young Vexari soldier pointed up. What are those? A human voice crackled over their comms. Female, clear, strong. This is Major Lisa Carter, Terran Marine Corps. We are landing in your sector. Clear the drop zone if you can. If you can't, get low. We are coming in hot. The first dropship hit the dirt hard. Its landing legs sank into the mud. The side doors blew open before the dust settled. Humans ran out. They wore heavy armor, gray and black, helmets with clear visors, rifles that looked too big for normal hands. They did not stop to look around. They moved straight toward the nearest Krellid line. Kale increased magnification. He saw one human soldier take a direct acid hit to the chest plate. The armor smoked. The soldier did not fall. He kept running. He fired back. His shots were loud and bright. Krellid drones burst apart. Another human threw a grenade. It rolled under a cluster of advancing warriors. The explosion threw bodies in every direction. The Coalition troops nearby stared. A Trellan fighter lowered his rifle for a moment. They do not stop, he whispered. Kale recorded every second. He saw the pattern. Humans did not hold defensive lines the way others did. They pushed, always forward. When a gap appeared, they filled it. When a position looked lost, they charged it. They shouted to each other in short words. They laughed sometimes, even when wounded. Above, Captain Hayes spoke again. Major Carter, status. Lisa's voice came back between bursts of gunfire. Pushing to link with Coalition forces. Expect contact in 5 minutes. Kale felt something strange in his chest. Not fear, not yet. Curiosity. He had watched 1,000 battles. He had seen species break. He had seen species run. He had never seen this. The Krellid noticed too. Their advance slowed. Scouts pulled back. The swarm hesitated. On the dawn's edge, Ilara watched the tactical map. Human icons appeared in places that had been red for days. Blue spread again, slowly, painfully, but it spread. Vor looked at her. They fight like they have nothing to lose. Ilara nodded once, or like they think they can win. Kale leaned closer to his screens. The humans had arrived, only a few hundred so far, but the battlefield already felt different. The stars had always taught patience, retreat when needed, preserve strength, wait for the right moment. The humans did not wait. He labeled it carefully. First contact. Vara Prime. Day 1. He did not know it then, but he had begun to write the reason why the stars would one day speak the name, human, in quiet voices.